There is another Alien sequel hitting theaters, believe it or not, and I've got my thoughts right now. This video is brought to you by The Perfect Gene. Go to theperfectgene.nyc and use code DAN15 at checkout for a special offer, and stay tuned after the video for more info. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Murrell. The review embargo is down and I can now give you my full review on Alien Romulus, which is hitting theaters here in the US this weekend. Alien Romulus is from director Fede Álvarez, who's no stranger to taking on horror franchises after writing and directing the 2013 version of Evil Dead and providing the story for and producing 2022's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as well as launching his own franchise with Don't Breathe. Fede Álvarez is known for injecting his singular style and a lot of gore into horror movies, and Alien Romulus is no exception. This latest installment, which was produced by original Alien director Ridley Scott, establishes itself from the first scene as happening between the events of 1979's Alien and 1986's Aliens. Kaylee Spaney takes on the lead role as Rain, a young girl stuck in a dead-end Weyland-Yutani mining colony, desperate for a way out. When some friends discover a space station adrift in orbit above the planet, Rain and her brother Andy, played by David Johnson, join them to scavenge equipment and get them away from a life in the mines. But because this is an alien film, they soon encounter the universe's deadliest predator, aside from maybe the Predator, and must race against the clock to escape the space station alive and unfacehugged. Alien is one of those rare franchises where lightning has actually been able to strike twice. The original film is a horror classic, and the 1986 sequel was able to succeed where so many other films have failed, which is to replicate the things that made the first movie great while also doing it at scale. And ever since Aliens, the franchise has been trying to recapture that magic. And they've done it in every way possible, by bringing the original star back after hiatus, making prequels, doing crossovers with other franchises, and yet they've still never been able to replicate the success of those first two films. And I think that you can add Alien Romulus to that list of Alien sequels that aren't quite able to reach the great heights of those first two movies, although I will say that the highs in this movie are very high, and they provide, I think, some of the best stuff that we've seen out of this franchise in years. However, for me, the lows were so low that they pulled the movie down altogether and kept it from reaching greatness. I struggled to come up with a way to describe my feelings about Alien Romulus, and this was the best that I could do. It's like Alien, the original Alien, and also Aliens. It's like it was a hit song, and everybody loved that song. And Fede Álvarez is a jazz musician, and he's on stage doing a cover of that song, and you can see the original notes, you can see the structure of the original song, but he's riffing in between and adding his own flourishes, and it's actually a pretty good cover. The problem is that while Fede Álvarez is on stage performing his version, the artist who did the original song is storming up on stage from time to time and saying, "Wait a minute, no, that's not how you play it. This is how you play it," and playing the original song at the same time as Fede Álvarez is trying to do his cover song, until Fede Álvarez just gets fed up with the whole thing and says, "You know what, screw it. I'm going to play my own song," and then plays an original piece of music that's definitely interesting, but doesn't quite fit with the music that we've been listening to. Álvarez nails the tone that worked in previous Alien films, and there are sequences in this movie that are as good as anything that we've seen since those first two movies. Some of them even more impressive because of what filmmakers can do with today's technology. One particular sequence involving zero gravity and alien blood is a great combination of using things that we know about the franchise and the talents of a filmmaker who wants to put his own spin on it. But instead of being satisfied with that new spin, Alien Romulus from time to time feels compelled to slap us in the face with very obvious reminders and references from other films in the franchise. Some of these are plot or thematic elements. I think if you look at the story of this movie, you can find pieces of just about every other movie in the Alien franchise. But some of them are the worst kind of callback, like putting in a line from a previous movie that makes no sense to put in the movie just because fans love it and it'll probably generate applause, or at least they hope that it will, or putting in other kinds of references that really detract from the film instead of adding to it, because there seems to be this desperate sense to inject familiarity, not just with the Alien franchise, but with specific things from other films. Some of this smells to me like studio interference, and one of those things is a technique, and I don't want to really give anything away, but it's a technique that Disney is really, really enamored with. They've used it several times over the past decade or so, and it's a technique that I think just doesn't work. I don't think that it's ever worked well in a movie, and they keep putting it in movies as if they're just going to kind of force us to like it and say, no, see, this thing really does work well. And I think that its use in this movie is the most unnecessary and distracting that it's ever been in any one of these movies, and it dragged the movie down for me every time they used it, which unfortunately was quite often. It's like the studio or the producers or whoever didn't trust Fede Álvarez to make an alien film that was compelling enough on its own terms and forced in these connections, and it's completely unnecessary. This is a director who's more than capable of taking existing creature designs and environments and making it its own film, and the parts where he is allowed to just play in the alien universe are by far the best parts of the movie. This is not for the most part a reinvention by any means of what we know, but Álvarez operates really well in this world, especially because gore and body horror are baked into the idea of an alien bursting out of someone's chest, and those things are firmly in his wheelhouse. The finale of the film, I think, is going to be divisive. It's not something that is completely, shall we say, alien to this franchise, but it is the most extreme version of this concept that we've seen so far. The Alien movies are known for having a fourth act that started basically with the first Alien film, and the fourth act of this one is, I think, the most bananas that this franchise has seen so far. Yes, you risk people not liking it and going too far, but I do have to give it credit for having some guts and taking a risk, because it is risky. The aesthetic of the film fits perfectly with the setting shortly after the original movie. The production design and lighting are spot on, and I love that Álvarez used practical and mechanical effects for a lot of the gore and the xenomorphs and the facehuggers themselves. This is a great blend of old and new techniques, and really it should be used as a source or a textbook for filmmakers that are brought into these franchises to make movies that are set inside of established timelines or chronology, because it shows that you can make a movie that feels like both a modern film and a throwback film, and also a pretty effective one as far as cost goes. It reportedly came in under $100 million on the budget side, and you really can't tell looking at the movie. That's a good thing. On a character level, the standouts are Kaylee Spaney as Rain and David Johnson as Andy. I really liked their brother-sister dynamic, and they are both able to make their characters interesting and easy to root and fear for. The Alien franchise has a long and admirable history of putting talented actresses in lead roles, and I'd argue that Sigourney Weaver kicked off an unbroken string of strong lead performances, whether the movies were great or not. Spaney is worthy of that legacy and makes her mark in it, and I also thought that David Johnson's performance was really strong. His character is not easy to play, and he's able to hit a lot of different notes with ease. The rest of the cast is also strong, but if you look at the fates of the supporting cast in other Alien films, they don't exist to not get caught by the alien. There are a few notable exceptions, but I don't think it's really giving away too much to know that you're going to be focused on 2 or 3 central characters, and the rest are, well, alien bait. I am so mixed on Alien Romulus. What I liked, I loved, and what I didn't like, I absolutely hated. If I were charting my reaction to this movie like on a line in real time, it would look like a seismograph, because it was just going up and down. I love that. Oh, I hate that. Oh, I love that. Oh, I hate that. And so it kind of makes it hard for me to synthesize all that into how I feel about the movie. But I'm going to give it credit for what it does right and boost its final level on my personal scale to the It's Good rating, although not too far above the It's Fine rating, because again, there's a lot of things that I think detract from my enjoyment. I think that this is going to be one of those movies where you find a reaction across the spectrum, especially with Alien fans. I think there are going to be some people that absolutely adore this film because it does do a lot of things right, and I think that there are going to be other people that hate the movie, either because of the excessive callbacks to previous movies or because it departs too much as the movie goes on. Alien Romulus plays the hits well, but for 38 years, the Alien franchise has been struggling to create another perfect sequel. This one isn't it, though I have to admit it does come closer than some. And if you want to know where I rank Alien Romulus in the Alien franchise, you can stay tuned right here to the channel later this week. I'm going to put out a full ranking video for the Alien films, not just the ones that hit theaters, but it also includes the special editions, the official alternate versions of the first 4 movies, and you'd be surprised how much some movies can move up and down the list based on which cut I'm talking about. So stay tuned to that right here on the channel. And before you go, I want to thank the sponsor for this video, The Perfect Gene. I don't want to weird you out, but I'd like to talk about my pants for a minute. I'm always looking for a great pair of jeans, and I have some from The Perfect Gene that are exactly what I'm looking for. They look great, they're comfy, and they actually fit me, which is really tough for me to find. And I'm not just saying this because they're talking points in an ad. I mean, they are, but just because they're talking points doesn't make them untrue. The truth is that the Perfect Gene is as advertised. No more stiff denim, no more discomfort in the crotch, aka the work zone. They just feel great, and they're always the first pair that I grab out of the laundry. The Perfect Gene also has a huge range of sizes from 26 to 50 in the waist and 26 to 38 in length. So it doesn't matter whether you're rocking a fab bod or a dad bod, these jeans will fit. I've worn other pairs of fancy jeans before, and it's like wearing a suit. I can't wait to get home and change into something more comfortable. But I can wear my Perfect Jeans all day, from screening a movie on my couch at home to screening a movie at a nice theater, and I'm completely comfortable the entire time. It's finally time to stop putting up with uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectgene.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use code DAN15 at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectgene.nyc with promo code DAN15. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them that I sent you. F your khakis and get the Perfect Gene. Thanks to The Perfect Gene for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching this review. Stay tuned right here for that ranking video, as well as more movie news, reviews, box office, and more. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.